Hey, what is going on, everybody? How's it going? Today is the weirdest day I have ever experienced ever since the whole Lolly is CP debate has ever kicked off on the internet. It is the most divisive, but yet it clearly shows that anti-lollies within the anti-lolly coalition clearly do not care about bodily autonomy because they don't understand what bodily autonomy is. And it is astounding how these people will point at any little old thing, call you a pedophile, and then next thing you know, the skeletons just come falling out of their closet. Every single time. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Yeah, there we go. Every single, I just don't get it. I do not get it. Actually, hold on. Let me see something real quick. Ugh. Let me take this off because it's hot as hell in here. Oh, God. Ugh. There we go. There we go. That's a lot more comfortable because that light bulb gets hella hot. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Yoshi the Oreo here. Jesus, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Twitter, but I don't know how you guys feel about when it comes to like the predator hunters. Like, you know, people like Jidion, Schlep, Skeeter, those so and so. To be honest, like I was watching them way back when they actually started taking off, and I forgot one of them. I forgot the name of them. He was the signifier that told me something was really off with these predator hunters. Where he was the first guy that actually busted EDP 445. For those who actually know him, you know, that was the guy that actually like real hefty fat motherfucker that was going around trying to like meet up with minors. And ended up failing that sting because word got out that he was an actual racist. And yeah, he actually was a racist. Because, you know, he was saying like, hey, you know, don't say the N-word, guys. They'll offend the N-words. It showed a conflict of interest where it's like, are you doing this to protect children? Or are you doing this to demonize black people through the actions of one degenerate black person? So it showed a conflict of interest, but then when you bring up that conflict of interest, the entire space of the predator channels would basically deflect and say, well, because we're the moral arbiters of protecting children, and because we're the moral arbiters of keeping children safe, and we're the only people doing anything, the state's not doing anything, they're not violating your rights in order to protect the children. So it's up to us. the morally superior people to go out and do what the state will not do what we want them to do. Only for that to come out. The second that came out, I said, there's a lot of things I don't like about Predator channels. And then there was that one Russian guy. I forgot his name. But that guy, he had that one video where he was like they were like spraying that dude, like it was a black dude. It was like a bunch of white dudes. And that one Mexican like beating up on that like one black dude. Like beating up on him, spraying him with stuff, shaving his head. I'm like, okay, this is getting literally in the same category of like lynching. Like it is getting into that same category of like lynching black people. Cause I'm like, at that same argument, it's like, what level of violence are they willing to do to their own people? You know? Because it's like, if you're doing all this to a black person, are you going to do all that to the same, are you going to do the same thing like to a white person? They don't do that. Like, they'll do violence of a certain level, but it's not as to the same extreme or the extent of what they'll do to a black person. And I was like, honestly, I do feel like that space is ran by neo-Nazis. I'm being dead ass honest. Because that's what the neo-Nazis, that's what Hitler did back in like 1933. He propagandized off of the whole scenario of like predators and pedophiles in order for him to strong arm himself into the position of power. And that's what these people ended up doing. Now, in terms of Jidion, I had my criticisms of him as well. Mostly as a black person. Not because he voted for Trump, but because a lot of his criticisms towards the black community came with a lot of tough, but it didn't necessarily have a lot of love behind that toughness. You know, there's a lot of black people within the conservative movement in terms of like conservative talk hosts. They do a lot of beating down, but they don't do a lot of building back up. They like to really they really like to be selected by white people as an extension to beat down on black people. Like Jesse Lee Peterson. He's one of them too. That's why a lot of white people like that motherfucker. He's just basically a mouthpiece that says everything that white people really want to say, but they use him as like a bypass to be able to say the damn thing. Now, when it comes with Jidion, I'll effectively say he is a genuine house Negro. He really is. I already said that like way back when. But today kind of marked the whole explanation of like the predator channels and anyone within the anti-lolly coalition. Like I'm not saying everyone who has this position is like this, because my position is very clear. You'll hang yourself when you talk. And Jidion hung himself when he talked. He really did. And what kicked all this off was what happened on Twitter with Chibi reviews and Schlepp with Chibi reviews saying, he's going to make a lolly defense video. And it's strange too, like all the million subscribers and plus YouTubers just got like coming out of fucking nowhere and started harassing him. And they coordinated videos at the same time releasing them, calling Chibi Reviews a pedophile for liking fictional content like something like Mitno or Fearin that they consider lolly, And And that's when like the skeletons of these people started like really pouring, because that's the thing you gotta realize. Like when you do some goofy stuff like that, you're basically telling people, hey, dig into my internet history and find some goofy, weird stuff that I've done and said, and then air it out there to dry, because that's what's going to mostly happen. Because, you know, a lot of people with autism, like when you piss them off, they'll concentrate that shit to the point to where they'll find anything on your channel and then they'll throw that right back in your face. Like people like Diesel Patches, Schlep, Jidion, like they all started attacking Chibi Reviews, calling him a pedophile. Now, I already did a live stream on Schlep with the failure in his philosophy when he says he's against all levels of pedophilia, which is you can't necessarily say that, and you can't necessarily be true to that, because in terms of Schlep, he had a hole in his philosophy, and that hole, there's actually two. I forgot to mention it in the last one. I mentioned in the first one. His first flaw in his hole against pedophilia, in terms of his philosophy, is that he's against all forms of pedophilia, but he's made an exception for children so long as the children are asking for nudes from other children, which is against federal law, because that's still CSAM. Like in terms of like, you know, 12-year-old Timmy and 12-year-old Susie, you know, having a little fling in their school, you know, they're holding hands, kissing, and like, you know, privacy, and like other people aren't watching. That's perfectly fine, because there's no recording devices, no one's watching it, no one's getting, the only people that are participating in that field is just those two. Unless it starts getting into something a lot more, you know, intimate, then that is concern, because at that point they're crossing a line to where their physical bodies have not matured enough, and that their mind and their mentality is not fully developed enough to the point to where they won't suffer any mental repercussions of that intimacy, because you don't want to do it that early. And Schlep has that hole in his philosophy. As long as the children are children, they can exchange that. But that's a flaw in the argument. And another flaw in the argument is, despite the fact that he says he's against all levels of pedophilia, economically and logistically, he's not against all levels of pedophilia. He's only against levels of pedophilia that he knows economically below his price range he can attack, so he doesn't have to worry about lawsuits when he actually gets it wrong. But you notice they never go above that economical threshold where someone has economical power or weight to countersue them. This is why they don't go after millionaires. This is why they don't go after billionaires and trillionaires, because logistically and economically, they're out of their price range and they can't tackle things like that. Which means the billionaires and the millionaires and the trillionaires are in a safe zone of pedophilic activity. So they can never, under no circumstances, attack that economical field. They can attack anything that's below them, but they can't attack anything that's above them. But if you point that out, they'll look at you and say, well, we can't do anything about that. I mean, but you're against all levels of pedophilia, but you won't go against that. Especially when it comes to the whole Epstein files. And I've already talked about Schlep. Now, when it comes to Jidion, Jidion is a wild card, and we're about to go over a video today by the YouTuber of the name Appleban. He's a really good one. I've been subscribing to him for quite a while, and we're going to watch over his video of Jidion contradicting himself to the point to where at this point he literally snitched on himself. And it is so grand, I might as well just go ahead and pop this up right here. Like, actually, I'll save that for later. I'll save that for later. But let's go ahead and get into the video. It's a wild one, boys. It's a wild one.
Hunter channel called EDP Watch, led by DeMarcus, who said that the lowly community are against him. Why is that? DeMarcus has his editor define lowly as characters who that look like a kid, but are hundreds or thousands years old. And his editor showed a screenshot of Frieren, which is already wrong. If you look at Frieren and think she's a kid, the weirdo is you. We've dealt with someone who had the same opinion, and he's also a clown. The rest of the characters are the same thing. These are fictional characters that look nothing like an actual human being, let alone children.
Predator is somebody that exploits or tries to do harm to kids. You are exploiting children by drawing children doing horrible things.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. So Jidion's this is how you can tell like they don't have like a philosophical ground, and I can explain it with a chart. Jidion's phenomena of explaining pedophilia fits in more like a Venn diagram. So in this diagram, you have the philosophical realm, which is explained in blue. Then you have the academic realm, which is green. And then you have the cultural realm, which is yellow. These are the spheres of understanding pedophilia in a dialectical sense, where you have people that understand it philosophically, they understand it academically, philosophically, academically, and culturally. Philosophically and academically, these two spheres share the same definition of pedophilia, and the literal definition, the root definition of pedophilia is person who is attracted to prepubescent children. That is ages 13 and below. That is a very defined trait that is rooted within DSM-5 category disorder in terms of the academic field. And in terms of the philosophical field, you have philosophers such as Michael Folk, who argues that a child can have sexual relationships with an adult because of the child understands the sexual implications and all the knowledge in terms of sex, that as long as they understand the physicality and the terminology of sex, that they can participate within the realm of sexual intercourse, which is not an argument. It is the violation of bodily autonomy of a child, because a child cannot consent to having sex, no matter, even if they do understand the complexities of sex or the complexities of gender. The knowledge does not make them capable of being able to participate within sexual activities with adults. That's not an argument. Just like how a child cannot drive a car because a child understands the complexities of a vehicle. They can't drive the car because they can't see the road. They can't drive the car because they don't understand velocity or acceleration, or that you're driving a vehicle that is weighed over hundreds of tons that has the capability of killing people if you're not careful in terms of driving your destination. And that the ability to drive comes with significant hand-eye coordination that most children may not have. And even if they did have it, there's a height issue. Can they see the road while also steering the wheel, while also using their feet to operate the pedals and brakes? No, they can't. This is why children should not be allowed to drive, because despite the fact that they may have the mental fortitude to understand how to drive, and they understand the complexities of driving, it is not a reason for them to be able to get behind a wheel. which is the same argument with sexuality, with the same argument of children being able to have sex with adults. They can't participate in that just because they have the knowledge. The knowledge is not enough. Your body also has to physically mature to the point to where not only that you are aware of what you're participating, but there's no mental or physical scarrings of you participating within the event of having sex with that other significant person. So Jidion isn't part of the philosophical realm, where his understanding of bodily autonomy comes from someone like Murray Rothbard or any of like feminist movements or anything like that. It doesn't come from the academics because he clearly throws DSM-5 out the damn window. It comes from the cultural aspect. It comes from the cultural understanding of, I understand pedophilia because my whole understanding of pedophilia comes from the entertainment industry. Of watching Chris Hansen and To Catch a Predator. And that my whole understanding of pedophilia is watching that show. Despite the fact that Chris Hansen has throughout his entire arrest records, 80% of his arrests didn't land convictions. But he knows more about pedophilia because he watched Chris Hansen. Despite the fact that Chris Hansen had a horrible track record. So instead of looking at the academic or philosophical, he looked at the cultural. And also, this also begs to question the credentials of Skeeter. Because Skeeter was also his tutor, his mentor, in terms of predator catching. So now we have to bring into question about not only Jidion, in terms of the philosophical and academic understanding of pedophilia, but Skeeter and the entire mythos of child predator hunting. Because Jidion's understanding, and this is what's happening, and this is why you should never, under no circumstances, allow the culture to dictate what pedophilia is, because the culture's definition of pedophilia is quite literally person who is attracted to children. Which is a watered-down bastardization version of the philosophical and the academic definition of pedophilia, who is person who is sexually attracted to prepubescent children. It is a watered-down version that allows the individual within the cultural space to manipulate the definition and to extend their judgment as far and broad and vague as possible to whatever they don't like, as the same way as the government. When they use legislation in a very vague and broad manner. Shiny Evolution says it's just like with all the furry hate when they watch a CSI episode. Yeah, exactly. Like, they formed their analysis of pedophilia off of culture. It's like, imagine if your judge, is determining sexual assault cases not off of the law, but off of the episodes of Law and Order SA victims, off of seasons of a television show. That's the degree of their exploration and judgment in terms of pedophilia. It's not the academic, it's not the philosophical, it's the culture. The culture. They're culturally trained to attack pedophilia, but the culture doesn't understand pedophilia because the culture obfuscates the academic and the philosophical. Because no one just willingly reads philosophy. It's boring and dry. It's boring and dry, as well as academia. It's boring and dry. It's only suitable for reading when it comes to those who are interested in the field to understand the complexities of what they are dealing with. It's kind of like the phenomenon of socialism. When CRT was exposed within the schools back in 2020 during COVID. What did all the right-wingers do? Oh, there's critical race theory within the... Okay, what is critical race? I don't know, but it sounds dangerous. Why are you attacking a subject that you have no understanding of? Because I'm a good guy. No, you're a cultural moron who bought into moral panicking. And I'm not saying critical race theory is actually fine. No, it's not. It's the basis of race nationalism. Whether it's black or white, it doesn't matter. You should reject critical race theory at any level, irregardless of the fact that the oppressors are black or brown or the oppressors are white. It is the grounds of rejecting race nationalism. But there are people who are accepted that critical race theory is actually an acceptable position to take, because those who are actually accepted critical race theory and critical race analysis have gained cultural political power, and they have solidified that central power for themselves and oppressed those who do not fit within that political diagram. So then guess what? Most of those people, like Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, have come to the conclusion that you must adopt the same thing that the activists of BLM have been implementing this entire time, and you just flip it on its head to support white people. It's the same thing. And the problem is with people like Jidion and Skeeter and Schlepp is that their whole understanding and analysis of pedophilia is based off the culture. It's not based off the philosophy or academics. It is based off the culture. And when the culture supersedes the academic definition, the philosophical definition of pedophilia, well, then guess what? Everyone is a pedophile. And if everyone's a pedophile, then guess what? Pedophilia is normalized. When you don't operate off of the actual definition of a person who is sexually attracted by prepubescent children. And you operate off of the culture definition of person who is sexually attracted to children. It's always be the culture. Exactly. Like the culture dictates things. It's more of a democracy. And then what happens when the majority of your population operates off of the watered down definition as opposed to the academic definition? They think they're the moral arbiters and they think they're correct because the culture, by democracy, by mob rule, says you are correct because the person with 6 million subscribers and does moral things is the correct one because he does moral things. Because the academic level failed? Not really. The philosophical level failed? Not really. But the culture that's doing things, irregardless of the quality of those things being done or not, is doing things, so therefore the culture should supersede the academic and the philosophy. That is the failure of Jidion's position.
So I guess most anime and manga creators are predators because they too draw children doing horrible things like murder, right? You are entertained with children murdering each other, right? Predators prey on real children, not fictional characters. You cannot exploit children by drawing fictional characters that just so happen to be around the same age or look like them.
And he's making the argument that it's exploitation. Jidion, I have to ask you a very important question. How can you exploit a fictional character of their physical labor? How can you exploit them when they have no bodily autonomy? Are you extending bodily autonomy to a fictional character? And if so, what rights are you willing to extend that are our rights to fictional characters while also stripping us of our rights and saying that you have a right to violate our bodily autonomy? That's a question you have to answer.
That is nonsensical. Also, this predator hunter decides to paywall the chat logs that the decoys have with the predators.
So I have it behind a paywall for only $4.45 a month.
Why the hell would you want to do that?
YouTube doesn't allow that type of content on the platform.
But they do allow linking that type of content in the description, right? If yes, then why do you put it on a paywall? Why would anyone want to pay for chat logs between predators and their fake prey?
Yes. This motherfucker quite literally admitted on his live stream that he sells and monetizes his chat logs that he discusses with predators. Now, here's something we have to actually discuss, is the legality of what this man just quite literally admitted online. That he is selling CSAM material to his audience. So let's actually look at that, right? So, in terms of AI, I asked AI this question. And it says, and I asked the question, I said, what does the law say about a person selling chat logs of predators preying on children to consumers? And it says there's really no specific federal statute explicitly prohibiting the private sale of chat logs to consumers, but the possession, distribution, and the production of CSAM contained within those logs is strictly illegal under federal law. Then to actually, really like iron it out, because I was like, okay, but what if the material of those chat logs were used to convict and someone is selling those chat logs? Even if the chat logs were used to secure a conviction, selling them to the public remains highly illegal and unlawful. Automatic destruction and forfeiture under laws of Texas Code Criminal Procedure Art 18.18, any CP, including chat logs that are part of evidence involved in a conviction, must be destroyed or forfeited to the state. It cannot be retained or sold by private individuals because it falls under the description of CSAM, distribution of CSAM material. So, Jidion, you just admitted on your channel you sell CSAM to your audience. Now, here's the fun part. The reputation of you being a predator hunter is on the line. You have now fallen into the same position as the Dawa dilemma. Of that, if you want to substantiate your God, you have to condemn your God. But if you condemn your God, then you're becoming an apostate, and therefore you must be punished. But you can't do that, so you have to actually uplift your God. But if you uplift your God, you're contradicting your God. You're now fallen into the same dilemma with the Dawa boys. The same dilemma. So, if what you are selling is legal, that would mean your conviction rates are extremely low, but your arrests are extremely high. Meaning, in terms of quality, you're a fraud. You get paid to appear like you're doing your damn job, but you're not cleaning up the streets. What you're doing is being paid to catch and release predators. Similar to like a pro fisherman going out in the middle of the sea, catching large fish, and then going, ooh, that's a big boy right there. We're just going to throw him right back into the sea. You're doing the same thing. But in the event that you are selling those logs, and those logs was used to convict actual predators, and those convictions stuck, you quite literally admitted to selling CSAM material to your audience. Now, in terms of selling this type of material, what does it kind of sound like? It sounds like age play, right? He's selling narratives where grown men pretend to be 12, 9, 10, whatever, to grown men who fantasize about the idea of being able to have sex with people under the age of 17. He's selling that. Is it legal in terms of age play? Yes. Age play is legal in terms of adults consenting with adults to do that type of thing. It's weird. I don't do it. But hey, more power to you. If you are a 40-year-old man having sex with a 34-year-old woman, and you can only get it up if your 34-year-old woman cosplays as a 70, I don't know what's the interest in that, but it's not a sign of bodily autonomy being violated because it's two consenting adults. So it's fair play. However, you are committing a federal crime. You just admitted to a federal crime. And there must be some form of investigation on the fact that you are selling, not only just you, every Predator channel. They have to go under deep investigations based on wherever they live, and that their laptops must be seized. Because they have never established a trust system with the public that says, we go out to stop it, but we do not hold on to this evidence in any way, shape, or form or make money off of it. Because now it also begs the question, because you have to look at the incentive structure of predator hunters. If they run out of pedophiles, guess what? They run out of money. Well, if they run out of money, well, then guess what? They can't pay their bills. And look at the area Jidion lives in. He lives in a pretty high life type of area. I wouldn't say like a millionaire type of thing, but he definitely lives in a place that requires a certain level of income in order for you to actually live there. But if you run out of pedophiles in order for you to make your money off of that, well then guess what, buddy? Where are you going to get the money? Especially when you've made it a full-time gig. And if you made it a full-time gig and you don't want to do a 9-to-5 because you think you're too pretty to work the fryer and to put the fries in the fucking bag, what is your other source of income? Now there comes a contradiction, a conflict of interest, where you create stories of you being a hero, of being a person that's fighting the good fight, like a BLM activist fighting racism while also being racist. You're a BLM activist under the spectrum of the right-wing Christian identity, pretending to be fighting pedophilia when you're marketing pedophilia. Sounds my microphone needs his fucking gas. It does. Like, it does. Like, holy fucking shit, bro. Like, jeez, they have no philosophical understanding. And I dare you guys, like, go into like any pro lolly video and go into the comment sections, and you'll often find the ability to be able to have intellectual, complex discussions with those people. Now, go into the Predator channels and go into the comments and just slightly disagree on something that you do have the grounds to disagree on. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to get attacked. You're going to be mislabeled. And they're going to have the grounds to justify doing what? Violating your bodily autonomy. Off of the grounds of optics. Of you appearing to be a pedophile because you dare to criticize or to question the god with 6 million subscribers, 1 million subscribers, who's doing the quote unquote Lord's work in eradicating pedophilia, eradicating racism, which you'll never abolish, by the way. That's just something you're going to have to learn to live with. We can mitigate it, but you'll never abolish it, because the pursuit of abolishing does what? It normalizes it. Because if everyone around you is a pedophile, what's the deal? Everyone's a pedophile, so what's so harmful about it? Since it's so normalized. And this is why we have root definitions to operate off of. Is to prevent the watering of those definitions to the point to where you feel like you live in a society where it's like, it doesn't matter where you turn. It's everywhere. So if it's everywhere, you might as well just let it happen. It's to prevent that kind of mindset from entering people's minds.
Why are you selling them in the first place?
Chris Hansen's videos, he literally does the readings of what these guys are talking about.
Chris Hansen showed the chat.
Yeah, he shows them.
You are selling them. That is gross and vile. DeMarcus did.
And then here's my thing, like, Jidion, also answer this question. And please, like, somebody share this. And I hope he actually sees this. Answer this question as well. What is your primary demographic who's buying that? Who's your primary demographic that's going, ooh, you're selling the narratives of what you sold to pedophiles that were interested in having sex with minors? And you're selling it for $4.49? That's a steal. Are you selling this to Tucker Carlson of all people or something? It's just like the word gay was an insult until it got normalized when everyone was gay. Exactly. Like gay had a meaning behind it. And then when it was like demonized to the point to where, like if you guys actually remember history in terms of like Stonewall incident, I think it was like back in 1913. Where like a bunch of white dudes ended up like storming into like a gay bar, and they ended up like brutalizing and murdering a bunch of people just for just being gay. Well then guess what, motherfucker? The term got normalized because people said, well, what type of society do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a society where people who are gay, they know that they're gay, and they're not doing goofy ass shit and demonizing people and beating them the fuck up? Or do you want to live in a society where a person is so disgusted by someone's sexuality to the point to where they think they can run up in your establishment, run up in your private property, violate your bodily autonomy, violate your privacy, and are justified in killing you because of that? Not justified in committing justice because you violated someone's bodily autonomy because you couldn't control your dick and you wanted to shove it in any kind of hole like a goat. But the simple fact that you're gay was enough to send those men into a frenzy to run into that establishment and just start killing people. That's the type of world Jidion wants to live in. He wants to live in a state. And this is what makes him a genuine house Negro. He wants to live in a state where the state has a right to run up in your house, not because you did commit a crime, but because there is suspicion of a crime based off of what you are doing or what you are watching. Not what you're doing in terms of like committing a crime or intent, but the appearance of what you are doing. He wants to live in a police state where they are justified in running up in your house and fucking your ass up. That's what he wants to live under. But he wants to live under it thinking it's never going to happen to him. Jidion, it will happen to you. The way you judge others is the way you will be judged. Because under the lens of a white nationalist, since you value profit over principle, you are no different than the Jewish nigger. You're the same as the greedy Jew who values money over their God. And they will judge you in the same manner as you are judging people in the anime community.
Try to catch predators by talking to
And
them.
this is you being a Christian, by the way. You don't even know this.
He did work with the police, so having him pivot to bashing lowly instead of dealing with real predators is just disgraceful. The Predator Hunter EDP Watch by DeMarcus or Jidion has this video showing a guy who is apparently the biggest anime freak. This is his proof that lolicons are child predators too. Well, I went out to check the video and wow, that was a big freaking lie.
He better be bigger than fucking Otacon from fucking Metal Gear Solid, just saying. And Otacon actually had sex. Out of all the men in fucking Metal Gear Solid series, the only person that got to bang Naomi was Otacon. But, you know, by Jidion standards, that would make Otacon a predator, so...
The sting of the video has DeMarcus asking him about anime characters. Here's the thing. DeMarcus is the one that brought it up. The guy being exposed isn't the one who brought up anime. In fact, they spend a significant chunk of the video talking about actual illegal content involving children that will eventually lead to the guy being arrested. They were talking about anything but anime. It's DeMarcus who suddenly brought anime out of nowhere. And they're only talking about them briefly out of this 25-minute video. I don't know why anime just came out of his mind when they already talked about real CSAM. If he is an anime freak, you would think that most of the video will be about anime. But I guess not. I want to highlight this part right here that I absolutely find hilarious.
What if they're 1,000 years old but they look young? What are those called? There's a name for it. I forget.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. Japan has weird names for things, so it's kind of hard to keep track of everything that they come out with.
This predator doesn't even know what lolis are. He doesn't even know the Japanese terms.
The man doesn't even know, and yet somehow he's like, he's a big anime. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the Dawa boys when it comes to like the debate between like which is the true religion as Islam versus, you know, Christianity. And you know, people within the Christian group, you know, they've been reading the Quran and reading the Hadiths, right? Where, FYI, the Prophet Muhammad married Aisha at the age of 6 and had sex with her at the age of 9. So, by their own scriptures, Muhammad is a diagnosed pedophile. But what, like, the Dawa boys and Muslims would do is that when their prophet is criticized by the Christian community for being a pedophile, they'll pivot to whataboutism and say, well, when you look at the Bible, Jesus had sex with the Virgin Mary when she was 12 in order for him to be born into this world. So that would mean God condones pedophilia. But also in the same breath, the Muslims will sell the idea that Muslims and Christians are of the same religion. Because Jesus is just another word for God, and Allah is another word for God. So because the two words mean God, they mean they are the same, therefore Christianity and Muslims are the same. But it's almost like if you spent your whole time like pointing out the fact like this guy's a Muslim, right? He's wearing Muslim attire. He's got the Habib, the whole thing. He's going, peace to the prophet, may peace be prophet to the Muhammad, and all this stuff. And he's going, Allah Akbar. And then he makes the argument that Allah is God and Jesus means God, therefore they're both the same. They're not the same. But he makes the argument that they're the same. And then the person goes in for the arrest and says, look at this Christian being a pedophile. Therefore, the Bible justifies pedophilia. How does the Bible justify pedophilia when the guy you are arresting is clearly a Muslim, Jidion? How is the guy an anime freak when he doesn't even know what the word lolly means? He literally made the Dawa dilemma argument. Which is why I made this. This is literally his argument. Oh, but because your God had sex with the Virgin Mary at the age of 12, therefore the Bible is pedophilic. Therefore you can't say anything about, the Prophet Muhammad because, we're one and the same because, our God and your God is the same person. But we will kill you based on the scriptures of the Quran, saying that every Christian and Jew shall be killed, and every Jew that is hiding behind a rock and a tree will be exposed by the trees and the rocks, saying that there's a Jew hiding behind me, and that you must kill them, for they are evil. But at the same time, we're the same because, Jesus is God, and Allah also means God. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's literally the Dawa dilemma. Jidion wanted to normalize everyone to be locale over people like any fictional character. Yeah, Jidion is the real one. Yeah, he's literally a locale himself. That's the fucked up part. Can't wait for Griftians and Schlops entries to reset the clock compilation. Exactly. Like, oh my god, it is so, like, oh my god. You know what? I'm kind of, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the bucket. I'm going to put $5, right, on Jidion's new grift. He's going to be a Muslim. Watch.
He can't keep track of them, even though they are so easy to do to anyone who likes anime or any Japanese media. You would think that an anime freak would know their Japanese terms, but I guess not. DeMarcus cited his own video talking about the biggest anime freak predator to prove that,
like, you don't know, like, otaku? Like, he doesn't bring up otaku? He doesn't bring up everyone's favorite word, nigaro! Which is Japanese to run. I'm not saying like negro. I'm like nigaro. Nigaro means to run. That's my favorite word for obvious reasons.
that loli is pedophilia. And the predator doesn't even know the Japanese terms. The dude doesn't even know what you're talking about. It's almost like real predators in the real world, like him, are after real children.
Exactly.
Not anime characters. This guy is not an anime freak. Calling him an anime freak is straight up wrong. And to use this video as proof that lolicon will lead to pedophilia is even more.
Wait, is that guy, what shirt is he wearing? He's wearing some type of American shirt. It almost looks like a Blue Lives Matter shirt, because it's got the American flag on it. Hold on, wait a second. Hold on, I'm curious now. I am hella curious now. Hold on. What shirt does that motherfucker have on? Yeah, his hoodie doesn't come off, actually. Yeah, like his hoodie stays on the entire time. Like, it has to come off at a period at some point, like... Because he looks like he has a Blue Lives Matter flag shirt on. Which says a lot, actually. Because why is he making the distinction that because the guy knows anime, therefore it leads to pedophilia, as opposed to, like, he's making the argument, like, let's say, for instance, he was wearing a Blue Lives Matter shirt, right? Like, a lefty would make the same argument that Jidion's making towards the anime community, except they'll make it towards MAGA. I mean, MAGA are in support of pedophilias because this one guy, who happens to also be white, by the way, wears a Blue Lives Matter shirt. Therefore, they're connected. FYI Jidion, FYI Skeeter, FYI any person who is so culturally interested in the term in terms of like monitoring pedophilia. No one has a monopoly on pedophilia. No one has it. Granted, the billionaires and the millionaires and the trillionaires of our country, they're definitely within a economical bracket where they're significantly untouchable. But in terms of logistics, if you actually do value children, the amount of money that they have in order for them to afford a private militia should not be the discerning factor as to why you cannot tackle these people. That is the more concerning factor.
Video as proof that lolicon will lead to pedophilia is even more wrong. There's a segment on the Predator Hunter EDP Watch video where DeMarcus searched for the term lolicon and was immediately hit with, warning, CSAM is illegal. Slep also does the same thing on Google and was also hit with the warning. Wow, that means Google agrees that lolicon is pedophilia, right?
No. But I'll let him explain this, yes, you know.
Actually, no. Google is not saying lolicon is illegal. Google is saying, do not use this keyword or you'll be led to actual illegal content.
Right. It's like the same thing with, like, cheese pizza. You know, like the whole argument that, like, most anti-lollies would make with, like, the word, like, with the book Lolita. They'll say, like, it's a derivative of the word Lolita. No, it's not a derivative of the word Lolita. Like, saying lolly is a derivative of the word in the book Lolita that was written by that Russian author. It's like saying cheese pizza is a derivative of child pornography. So that any person who's putting an order to Papa John's or Domino's, or any type of Italian food restaurant that sells pizza should be concerned when a person is ordering a plate of cheese pizza. Because it's a pseudonym for child pornography. It's a retarded take. It's a literal retarded take that is only substantiated by the mob of democracy.
In this website. Don't take my word for it. Take it from Google's own AI, Gemini. I don't usually ask AI for a direct source, but in this context, if there is one entity that knows about Google's search policies, mechanisms, and algorithms better than anyone else in this world, it's Google's own AI, Gemini. And what did they say? This search term is a high traffic gateway used by criminals to hide illegal content. So
Right.
we are placing a warning here to remind everyone of the law and provide help resources.
Like, it's a literal pseudonym. It's a co-opted term that's used to traffic actual CSAM. And I think that's where the confusion is. For those who are genuinely concerned. For those who are clearly grifting, eat rocks. You know what that is. You just don't care. And you're in the business of just making money because the money in your field is drying up. And you need some way to be able to make money off of something you really don't care about.
In other words, this keyword might screw up Google's algorithm and lead you to actual CSAM. This is genuinely one of the few times when I will say that lowly will lead to actual CSAM. It's when you stupidly and foolishly search for the term on Google or any mainstream search engine.
Exactly.
This does not mean lowly is CSAM, evidently proven by many US laws, argued even by Google's own Gemini AI. They are not. It means some genuine predators who distribute CSAM hijack that term to distribute CSAM. Those people
Just like cheese pizza. So I guess by Jidion standards, we need to be arresting any person, or at least by the standards of the Epstein files, we need to be arresting anyone who talks about cheese pizza or has a taste for cheese pizza.
are deplorable and should.
But you know, cheese pizza, you know, the actual Italian food, by the way. I gotta classify. I have to really be like specific about that, especially considering the topic that we're talking about here. I actually like cheese pizza, the Italian food. It's very good, especially Domino's, especially when you get it in like, you know, thin crust. I don't like fat crust, like original crust, like anything like that. Although Chicago deep style with like 4 cheese pizza, that's actually really good. That's actually really good. But if anything, my favorite pizza is Italian sausage.
Be arrested and
Oh god, that means I'm gay because I like sausage and.
Google would rather show the warning to 1,000 innocent people than miss one actual predator looking for victims or CSAM. It's less guilty until proven innocent and more warning regardless of guilty or innocent. Also, actual lolicons do not search for the word lolicon on Google. That is incredibly dumb.
Exactly. And I can tell you from experience, I don't do that. Nobody within the anime community that looks for Rule 34 content does that. We don't type in the word lolicon and start clicking on any old fucking link to anything. That's retarded. We go to dedicated 18 plus sites, and if we're looking for a very specific character like Midna, the images that we're looking for are categorized by tags. And we look for that character based on the show that they come from. So if you're looking for Midna, you'll type in either Twilight Princess, Zelda, or Midna herself. And there you go. You have a very specific search algorithm that ensures that the only thing that you are consuming is fictional content. Nobody in their right mind does that. No one in their right mind goes to Google, types in lolicon, and clicks any old fucking random site that may actually be distributing CSAM material.
What they do is they think of an anime character and they look for the 18 plus content featuring those characters. It's almost like lolicons focus on fictional characters, not real people. If anything, you predator hunters doing this might lead you way closer to actual CSAM than any lolicon ever will.
And I said this a long time ago, and I'll keep saying it over and over and over. The anti-lolly coalition have morally justified themselves to be able to look up child pornography. The anti-lolly coalition has morally justified themselves to be able to look up child pornography. I am doing the exact same thing that Umar Johnson does and repeating the same thing over and over and over to his black beautiful queens. So I'll keep saying it over and over and over so that my black beautiful queens can ultimately understand what I am actually saying, that when I say that the anti-lolly coalition has given themselves the moral justification to look up child pornography. They have given themselves the moral justification to look up child pornography in the moral grandstanding to take down child pornography. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like those really weird pedophiles in those journalist positions that was writing those articles about the moral justification of being able to look up child pornography for the sole purpose to take down child pornography. And guess what happened? Those people were pedophiles. They continued the same tradition. That they have the moral justification to look up child pornography.
After being bashed and mocked by not just lolicons but anime fans and weebs in general, the Predator Hunter group EDP Watch offered to invite loli fans for a debate. Dude, you are wasting your time. You have the capacity to save real children, but you are wasting your time going against people who enjoy fictional characters.
Now, will I ever debate Jidion? No, I wouldn't debate. I wouldn't debate a fucking house Negro. There's no point in debating a house Negro. Like, there's no point of debating someone that is the literal representation of a kangaroo court. Because he's not coming from a genuine position. He's coming from a dishonest cultural position. And when you're coming from a dishonest cultural position, you're playing team sports. So he's not saying that position because it's true. He's saying that position because he's ultimately funded by his audience to say it. So I know for a fact debating him is pointless because he's financially being backed by audience members who's buying his CSAM material to promote the ideal that lolly is CP.
You Predator Hunters are wasting your time on fictional characters that could have been given to real children. Are you gonna call the police on them? Are you gonna arrest them? Are you going vigilante on them?
No, because they're not. Because just like Schlepp's philosophy that children can participate in these things, I think Jidion has the same position as Schlepp. They're children. Therefore, if a child is consuming lolly, it's perfectly fine because it's a child consuming child material. Which is a flaw in his argument. It's a flaw in his philosophy.
Are you going to harass or report them? Or are you just going to call them a weirdo and that's it?
What is the charge?
These Predator Hunters don't have any concrete actions moving forward dealing with loli or shota fans.
It's just to make money.
From shaming them online on stream.
It's just to shame and make money. That's all it is.
It's just performative moral outrage. If you really want to debate, I am down, but I can assure you that it'll be a waste of my time. It'll be a waste of your time.
And honestly, if Aquaman does end up debating Jidion, like, we need to support this guy. Like, I can't fucking do it because my heart rate was skyrocket. Like, I already got like fucking issues with like my heart rate when I'm on dialysis. That shit hits like 115. Like, I don't know, man. Like, debating someone like this, I'm not even just pissed off at him about the whole, anime hypocrisy. Like, this man is a genuine house Negro. So it's also coming from the position that he sells out the black community. Like, he already did that. And now here he is selling out children for fictional characters. So that his audience that is mixed with children and grown ass men, we talking about females ain't shit, but still can't get no damn pussy. are buying his fucking CSAM of chat logs of grown-ass men masquerading as 12-year-olds to predators looking for 12-year-olds.
It'd be a waste of everyone's time, unless it's on a stream and the super chats are on in everyone's end. Oh wow, I guess I found the ultimate end goal. It's performative moral outrage for profits.
Exactly.
That's what it is. If EDP Watch...
Exactly, and he will be judged in the same manner that he judges others. He will be put into the same camp as the dirty, money-hungry Jew who values money over principle. And he will be judged in the same fashion by white nationalists.
sells the Predator chat logs and audio messages on a paywall, it's really not a stretch to assume that the debates are for profits too. I guess they're running out of predators to catch, so they just expand the definition to include lolicons too. The predator hunter DeMarcus from EDP Watch really should not have...
And the third thing, here's another thing I need to really talk about, like, DeMarcus. Like, hold on. As much as this man, like, really loves to sell the idea, because, you know, he's one of those black cats, like, to sell the idea that, you know, he was mocked and ridiculed by the black community because, you know, he didn't want to be part of the black culture and he wanted to be himself. I understand that. I come from the same background as well. The difference between me and him is quite clear. I'll criticize my people and I'll stay in the same space as them. He'll criticize them, but he'll move as far away and safe as possible in order for him to actually do that. While at the same time, trying to look as hood as possible, while saying he left the hood behind him. And as much as he likes to put on this fake Christian identity to show that he's a Christian, he still acts like a nigga. Considering if you're aware of how many women that he sleeps with, in terms of Japanese women. He slept with a lot of women. Which, by the definition of a Christian, ain't really necessarily the definition of a Christian. And especially considering the fact that there's so many people in the manosphere that sleep with so many women, but at the exact same time are secretly gay, I wouldn't be surprised that this man literally takes it up the butt. I got an alleged predator who was stalking on me and my friend after he doxed them. Where was Jidion to go after me? Wait, what? You got an alleged predator who was stalking you, right? And your friend, okay, after him, go after him. Right, exactly. Well, you wouldn't go after him because, you know, that's a friend. He'll go after you because, well, you didn't let him have sex with you. That's your problem. Just give it up, you know. Why are you being a predator? Why didn't you let him sleep with you, huh? Predator.
Put this video up front. It's a live stream that he clipped, but it is a horrible one.
Instead of this back and forth on Twitter, let's be men about it because the majority of them are men. I'm like, yo, let's be men about this and let's talk on stream.
Appeal to mass.
There's nothing man about you considering how much of a freaking house Negro you really are.
Masculinity, nice try. The reason why you don't do a back and forth on Twitter is because you don't profit from them as much as a live stream. So
Exactly, because he'll get community noted and he wouldn't be able to make the money off of it. That's the only reason he wants to do a live stream.
if it's gotta be a live stream and you're inviting me, my end is gonna be monetized too.
I made a video where I caught a dude into lolly, right?
Except you didn't catch a dude who is into lolly.
He didn't even know what it is.
Who is into real children.
Exactly.
You're the one who brought up anime out of nowhere. He doesn't even know the term.
What if they're 1,000 years old but they look young? What are those called? There's a name for it. I forget.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
The dude is into real children, not anime. You're the one who brought up anime out of nowhere. That sicko doesn't even know the term for it. He is far from what I would describe as an anime freak. The fact that you still cite that video, despite it disproving your point, is incredible.
Right, because the cultural power is more significant than the academic and philosophical position. because that comes with guardrails. It requires him to be factually right. He doesn't want to be factually right. He wants the ability to beat anybody up with cultural power. He's a pet of totalitarians and authoritarians, practicing being an authoritarian, and then when the authoritarians actually get into power, he's expecting that the authoritarians, under no circumstance, will judge him in the same manner. When they will.
Lolly is literally CP.
No, it's not. They involve
Philosophically based off of what? What philosopher actually solidifies this idea? Because it's definitely not Michael Folk. Michael Folk's not in the drawings. He's in the actual children who actually understand the complexities of sexuality and gender. He doesn't care about fictional characters. Because, again, as much as you are a nigga, Jidion, let me speak to you like a nigga. And considering how, despite the fact you moved into the white community as much as you want to act like you're white, pussy is still a commodity. Pussy is a commodity. To the point to where illegal CSAM material is very valuable, especially when it is uniquely made. Like a unique video of CSAM often sells for like over $250 based off of, you know, information that the FBI collecting in terms of like busting like black markets and stuff like that. Or the virginity of a 9-year-old girl is often sold for like $2,000 based off the culture within the Middle East where grown-ass men buy child brides because of their family starving to death, and the only way for them to be able to survive is to sell their daughter to a grown-ass man that is going to sexually assault them. Because pussy is a commodity. Virginity is a commodity. It's a value. It is a high market value. That to the point when it is tarnished, the value is significantly decreased. Because the virginity has been stolen. The hymen has been penetrated. It's been damaged. And that the child has been damaged beyond repair, physically and mentally. A drawing does not have the same economical value, the same economical approach as when a person sexually violates a child and records it. It's not the same economical value. Because again, pussy is a commodity. Pussy is high market value. No one is going to spend $170 to masturbate to a fictional drawing of like Rebecca from Edge Runners. Why? Because the drawing is not unique. And even if the drawing is unique, it is not of economical value because there's so many copies of that character that is out there for free to be consumed however you want. And that the only economical value of a fictional character is quite literally a bottle of lotion and a box of tissue, which is around $21. And that's not even counting inflation. But the economical value of a virgin girl is worth $2,000, if not more dollars. Because again, pussy is a commodity. And even if you explain to like some creepy old man in the Middle East that, hey, this fictional character has a virginity, that man would look at this and go, no, it doesn't. It's a drawing. You cannot experience the tightness of a hymen from a fictional character. You cannot experience, in his terms, the pleasure of inserting yourself into the vaginal canal of a small girl whose vaginal canal has that increased in circumference of her developing. To that person, you're trying to scam them. So they would never put $2,000 on a fictional character in the same price market of a virgin 9-year-old. Because pussy is a commodity.
Fictional characters, they are not real.
I'm getting ratioed by people trying to defend CP, man.
Except they are
Yeah, you get a ratio because you hate the fact that you can't make money off of Twitter, because the second you get ratio and community noted, well then guess what? You can't make money off of it.
are not defending CP, they are defending lowly, as in fictional characters. They are not children. They shouldn't be treated the same.
Exactly.
Confusing fiction and reality, brother.
Predator hunters cannot accept that fictional characters are not real, and there's nothing wrong with being attracted to them.
So because they're not real children, nobody's being sexualized.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Fictional characters.
Because the violation of bodily autonomy upon the citizen has not been confirmed. We've already falsified the position that in the event that a character, right, is correlated to a citizen, like say for instance, like one of my nieces, like my youngest niece, if someone took her likeness and put it in an AI to make her do sexually suggestive positions, that would constitute as CSAM material, and that would constitute me putting that motherfucker 6 feet under. That would be CSAM material. But if what you're looking at here is an octagon, it's a literal octagon and a circle. And the chest is often heart-shaped. They're not falling in love with children. It's 2D shapes given manifestation and humanization that has a layer of attraction that is not of the same caliber of a human person. You're falling in love with a shape. It's a literal shape.
Are not children. They are not real.
How long do you think it's gonna be where someone can just draw the image before they want to start seeing the real thing?
Never. That will never happen. The real thing, real children, are fundamentally and radically different to the fictional characters that these people are jerking off to that you are getting outraged at. This is like arguing, if you kill people in games, when are you gonna start doing that in real life? This is a slippery slope fallacy.
Or is it true that despite the fact, like, especially going off of his argument, right, that fiction is a window into reality? Okay, if that is the case, then every white person in America is a white supremacist. Because every white person has played Call of Duty or some type of shooter where you have played on the team of the Nazis and that you have been role-playing to empathize with the Nazis with the sole goal of winning the war, to rewrite history that the Nazis were actually the good guys because you won a Call of Duty game. Or in the event that you lost the Call of Duty game, it is to incentivize to those white people who were playing Call of Duty on the Nazi team to have empathy for the fact that the Nazi team lost. Not because they themselves lost in a shooter game, but because they have been role-playing as Nazis and that they must feel empathy for the fact that the Nazis lost the war. Do you really want to go down that route, Jidion? Do you really want to go down that route of the amount of people you have killed playing GTA, you know, considering you're a nigga and everything? How many people you killed? How would that make you any different than the black people you've been criticizing this entire time in terms of hood culture? When, in fact, you are the same as them. You got the do-rag on. I'm pretty sure when you're playing GTA, you're just killing everybody in sight. And then you go home in your little hideout, getting away from justice because you're a black guy, and they won't arrest you because of racism, right? And you're taking all the money that you took from the game, and you're blowing it on hookers and blow. You're no different from the black people you criticize, because you do the same thing in GTA. So by that extension, you're the same thing.
Fallacy, and you have not provided evidence that this someone has slipped the slope. The one that you did have or claim to have, the guy doesn't even know the Japanese terms, but he's an anime freak, right?
Then how long do you think it'll be after they start seeing the real thing till they want to do the real thing?
Never.
They don't do the real thing. Like, in the event that you do end up finding like a person who's a predator who happens to have lolicon on them, that's not proof that they're like lolicon creates predators. That's the same thing with like a Christian sexually assaulting a minor within their youth ministry. Therefore, all Christians, including you, Jidion, sexually assault minors because of Jim Jones. Because of the actions of Jim Jones. Well, granted, he was a socialist, and that he just used Christianity as a vehicle to promote his socialism. We'll ignore the part that he was a socialist and just pretty much put you in the same camp as Jim Jones. Because if they did it, you'll do it too.
Do the real thing are actual criminals. They are not to be compared to people who are into fictional characters.
So by your logic, people making AI...
Let me stop you right there. You think that I agree?
We've already, like, Jesus Christ, bro. This is like... This is on the same level of an atheist debating a Christian theologist. Like, the person that never reads the Bible thinks they know the Bible more than the guy that actually studies the Bible. Like, that is literally the position he comes from.
Agree with AI-generated children? I don't. I do not give a damn if AI-generated children are not real. They are still illegal.
Yes.
AI's data is trained on actual real
children.
And they are capable of making content that are virtually indistinguishable to real ones, which is definitely illegal according to the law. And no one in their right mind should ever support that. I have never supported that, and I've called out the many misuses of AI for not just towards children, but also towards adults who got sexualized by AI without their consent.
Which is funny, actually, Jidion. You know, considering you're such a predator hunter or anything, you know, you're protecting the children and women and stuff. Why is it you're not on Twitter, like, in the spaces where there's a lot of people in the manosphere where they will, like, quite literally take the image of a girl and they will make AI porn of the girl, which is violation of their bodily autonomy, by the way. Because they didn't consent to that. Is there any reason why you're not in those fields, Jidion? You know, stopping those type of people who are quite literally taking images of women, irregardless of their of age or not, and violating their bodily autonomy by running their image in an AI and then stripping them naked and then making them do sexual things? Is there any reason why you ignore that and you go straight for the anime community that is more focused on fiction? I think you're a literal misogynist.
It's one of the few times in my videos where I'm a moral guardian.
That would explain why you go through so many Asian girlfriends.
Because AI undressing
Because
is
they're
wrong.
weak.
Real
And you can beat up on them.
people are affected by it. It's almost like I and many others in this community care for real people being hurt instead of fictional characters being hurt. I am in awe of the garbage that these predator hunters say to people that just like fictional characters.
Let me come over to your house unannounced and let me just look through your hard drive.
Wow, that is an actual threat. You just threatened this guy. All he said was that your virtues threat.
That was a literal threat. That was a literal threat.
Let me come over to your house unannounced.
You're saying you're gonna go to people's houses unannounced and just burglarize their privacy? Hold on. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. You know, I said it time and time again. I know, I understand. I said it time and time again. How much of a literal house negro Jidion really is. But let me play his national anthem. That is your theme song, Jidion. You and everyone that looks and acts like you.
And let me just look through your hard drive.
Wow, that is an actual threat. You just threatened this guy. All he said was that you're virtue signaling against lowly and that you have skeletons in your closet. I'm not gonna accuse you of having skeletons. He said that because there is a trend of people who are against lowly or anime in general having actual skeletons in their closet. Even Slep, who is anti-lolicon, seems to be heading to that direction. I don't know the full details, but it is more concerning than fictional characters. You can literally just reply, "I don't, you weirdo," but you have to go the extra mile. You just confess to the world that you want to show up to his house unannounced to look at his hard drives.
You know what this reminds me of, guys?
No, I can't. I like this.
Actually, hold on. Wait, no, hold on. God dang, I thought that was the soundbite. I should really get like a soundboard. Hold on. Should be in my memes. There it is.
You're a savage. You're a maniac. You are a bandit, and I am the goddamn hero.
That's Jidion. Jidion is literally Handsome Jack.
That is unreasonable search and seizure, trespassing, violations of privacy, oh, and not to mention incitement to harass, threat, intimidation. There are so many legal grounds that can be covered out of what
He is an authoritarian.
Either file a restraining order or have the police.
Well, the
come to
pet
your
of one.
house. Yes, the police has legal grounds to come to your house because you threatened to invade people's homes, but they do not have legal grounds for anime characters in sexual situations being saved in hard drives. It's almost like the police cares for.
I hope they do like fucking hit his house, because he does need to be investigated.
Real people rather than fictional ones. Oh, another thing, before you say, "I'm just joking, I'm not actually gonna come to your house," you cannot say that you're joking if the person who received that joke genuinely feels threatened by you.
it kind of has that same energy of like Nick Fuentes, where he's like simping for people like Stalin and Hitler. And then when like you call them out because you do generally feel threatened, like, are you like simping for like authoritarians, like white nationalists and like totalitarians of like some form of national socialism? And the first thing that kind of comes out of his mouth is either A, he's joking, or B, what, he's not a white nationalist, he's actually a Mexican. Which, if you're talking about a person that talks like that, you can't go off of what they say in the instance. You have to look at them in a timeline, because they say one thing in the public space and then they say something entirely different in the private space. So in the private space, when they're surrounded by all their white cohorts that honestly believe Hitler was an actual hero and he was actually framed by the Jewish cabal of being a bad guy, they'll say white power. But in the event that they actually get called out by the public of being white supremacists or neo-Nazis, all of a sudden they'll flip the script and be like, what? I'm not a white nationalist. I'm actually a Mexican. I mean, my last name is Fuentes, for crying out loud.
You are still
It's the same
legally
energy.
liable for that. Maybe stop being an internet vigilante and start learning how the law works before you start threatening people over drawings.
Me and Alex have a bunch of leads now, chat. We quite literally have unlimited leads.
No.
Unlimited leads or unlimited money? Because clearly you're doing this for financial gains.
No. No, you don't. You do not have unlimited leads. You have no legal basis going against people that like fiction. Considering how you blatantly threaten people to show up to their homes unannounced, which is a crime, it is you who's going to be in a legal trouble. Of all the things that Predator Hunter EDP Watch DeMarcus did, this one will continue to be incredibly gross.
I'm gonna grant them this, chat. Okay, I'm weird. I'm weird for selling the chat logs of what these monsters are saying to our decoys.
That ain't, nigga. That shit ain't weird. It's illegal. It's immoral. And it's unethical. You're a genuine house Negro that was trained by the culture in terms of understanding pedophilia while completely obfuscating the academic and the philosophical level of the thing that you are so concerned about. You are a fucking hypocrite.
And these chat logs that got these monsters set up.
You're not weird. You are vile for doing that. What is wrong with you?
Me and Chris Hansen, we're both weird because
No, don't you dare. Don't you dare. As much as say Chris Hansen's arrest rates, he has a significant high arrest rates, but he has like a very questionable conviction rate. Don't you throw him under the bus because you wanted to monetize child pornography that you have procured yourself in your damn cases.
we showed the chat logs, right?
No, Chris Hansen doesn't sell the chat logs. You do. I love how you corrected yourself once you realized that you literally said sell the first time,
Selling the chat logs.
but then you said show, just to make it less gross.
We showed the chat logs, right?
You sell
Yeah, you
chat
didn't show
logs
shit,
on Predator
motherfucker. You
for
sold it.
decoy children.
What is your primary demographic that is buying those chat logs, bro? Who is buying your chat logs? I hope it's not minors. And even if it's adults, it's still concerning. There's no demographic you can list that can actually justify your damn actions, bro.
That is gross and vile. What is wrong with you?
If I'm weird for showing the chat logs of what these
Stop. You're not showing.
If I'm weird, you guys are just as weird. Again, he's making the Dawa dilemma argument. Oh, you say our God's a pedophile? Well, let's go into the Bible and see how your God your God justifies pedophilia because your God had sex with the Virgin Mary at the age of 12. So because of that means we're that you don't have to call our God a pedophile. We're kind of like the same, and therefore you can You know, shut the fuck up, because, you know, we're both the same. Like, that's literally his fucking argument. That's literally his fucking argument.
Them. You're selling them.
You're justified.
First time you said that? Oh, wait, you did.
Selling the chat logs. What does that make you for drawing literal children?
People that fucking actually care about bodily autonomy versus you who do not care about bodily autonomy? Let alone, you don't care about ethics. We care about ethics and bodily autonomy. Granted, I will say this, like, what you're selling, well, actually, no, what you are selling is clearly a violation of bodily autonomy, because if those stories are correlated with convictions that were actually stuck, well, that's you actually quite literally selling CSAM. So, yeah, that is you violating bodily autonomy, you dumb sack of shit.
They are not children. Fictional characters are not children. They are not real. Children are real. Predators are real. And you are selling the chat logs of these predators, preying on the decoy children. You are literally making money off of their predatory behaviors. That is gross. That is vile. You are scum. You got it absolutely correct the first time. You do sell those chat logs. But
Yes.
I guess you realize how bad that makes you look, so you immediately pivot to saying, show the chat logs. That is a clear display of dishonesty, and the fact that you
I guess after this, they're gonna have to find another house negro. Maybe Candace Owens can replace Jidion, you know.
engage in this openly is abhorrent.
Or like I said earlier, like, you know, considering he went from prankster to Christian to this, I guess the next grift is either, like, I don't know, like teaming up with Candace Owens and her grift, like Gaza and Israel, or just like, you know, he can grift in being like Islamic, you know. The possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless.
Do not sell chat logs of actual predators preying on children. We like fictional characters that are not real, no matter how screwed up they are. You quite literally monetize real predators' chat logs. You are beyond weird. You are gross and sick. This is such an incredibly baffling thing to say for these predator hunters who are anti-loli.
You see how he brought out his best character he has? His most PG character that he...
Well, to be honest, I prefer Midna. I mean, like, hold on, let me show you something. Don't worry, it will be perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Okay, so for those who do not understand who Midna is, I'm just making sure there's like nothing. Alright, cool. Because I don't trust Google. I don't trust search engines either. Like, this is Midna. She's pretty hot. I like the adult version. I like the humanoid version. I don't know if you guys actually see it. Like, Mike is in a way. There you go. I like this version. She's pretty hot. Quite literally. But I also like the imp version. It's pretty cute. It's pretty petite. I like it. It's not bad. It's not bad. And she constitutes as a lolly as well. She's fine. She's a literal fucking imp. 800 years old. She doesn't exist. She can't hurt you. Unless she's hurting you financially to the point to where you cannot incarcerate people that you think are pedophiles, so you can actually live in your high-wise establishment and being white. And I think that's what the real problem that he's actually looking at. But Fearing, I haven't watched the anime. I should actually watch that anime. I heard it was actually pretty good. Which is actually funny, by the way, because if you actually watch Fearing, I've heard, like, the episode that kind of exemplifies what Jidion is. He's the demon in that episode that uses words to get what he wants. where the demon uses the word "where's mother? Where is my mother?" to prevent the villagers from killing her, knowing damn well that the empathy of the villagers would prevent them from being able to kill the demon. So the demon would do something. The demon's like masquerading as a little girl, right? And the demon would do some fucked up shit. And the villagers would be like, "What are you doing? You're violating the bodily autonomy of nature around us. And we need to punish you because you're sooner or later going to put us in danger." But then the demon empathizes and uses and weaponizes words such as mother, where is my mother? To make them second guess the idea, like, am I killing a demon? Or am I killing a very misguided child? And then ultimately, the demon wins over the villagers. And the village chief takes the demon into his care, saying, "I'll teach her how to actually be a proper human." Only for the demon to win them over, and then once their guards are down, kills everyone in the village. That's what Jidion is. He wants to win you over, not because he's a genuine person. He wants to win you over because he's a demon. And he ultimately understands what words he needs to use to win you over. I'm a Christian. I'm against pedophilia. And obviously, if you are a Christian, or if you are against pedophilia, you will side with me, the demon. Because I'm the good guy doing the morally good things. And then turns out the demon is quite literally selling what interests pedophiles to his audience.
Brought out.
Freeran. You consider Freeran the most PG.
You know what? If all lolly looks like this, I wouldn't have a problem at all.
Wow. So you are totally okay with the loli. You just gave Freeran a pass. She is acceptable loli. Freeran isn't even a loli, but considering that a couple months ago we had this dude crashing out and literally saying this.
Freeran looks like a teenager. Y'all try to use the excuse that, oh, she's thousands of years old. And no, she still looks like a teenager.
Congratulations, DeMarcus. You are a loli.
I want to make this abundantly clear that your education is false. That your education is based on woke education, whether it be from the culture or whether it be from the state. It is woke education. Your teachers have failed you. Your nation has failed you. You're not a real person. You're an object of the state. You're a cog of the state. You're a mutt of the state. You're a literal dog of the state who thinks because your master has taught you what is real and what is fake, you know what is real and what is fake, but you don't. You have no philosophical understanding or academic understanding of what the hell you are talking about, Jidion.
Con. You just gave Freeran your stamp of approval, and now you'll be accused by dudes like this of being a predator freak who needs to be locked up. I've never used an anti-loli words against another anti-loli, but wow, this is quite a...
It's clown on clown violence.
Also, since you have your own editor, I guess you didn't watch the videos that...
Wait, is that the same guy that has his own channel? I think so.
You post online, because your own editor quite literally showed Freeran as an example of a loli. You say that you are okay with Freeran, and Freeran is a loli by your own definition, stated on your own published video.
So by your own definition, well then that would make you a pedophile, Jidion. So what makes you different from us? Oh, well, the thing that makes you different from us is that you are the moral arbiter of our entire society, and because you're doing morally good things, and because you're doing morally good things, and you're letting everyone how moral you are, you can do whatever the hell you want, despite the fact that you're hypocritical and you fall into the same category of what you just classified everybody else. Which, keep in mind, your logic about fiction equaling reality will also put you in the same category as the same black people you have been criticizing this entire time.
You are a lolicon, so you should be in jail too. These predator hunters really should consider a career change, and they definitely should hire lawyers.
If I could,
They need lawyers and philosophers. That's what they fucking need.
I would show you guys the stuff that these weirdos be drawing. But I would be put on the list and I could get arrested.
Really? Then why haven't we heard any lolicon or shotacon who has been arrested for it? Considering that there are so
Jesus
many of
Christ.
them out online for this absolutely dumb opinion, surely at least one of them would have been arrested for it. But no, they haven't been arrested because loli or shota are not actually illegal, and you won't get arrested for drawings of fictional characters that are not real. Also, by your own standards, you are in possession of what you yourself deem as CP. By your own logic, you own illegal content. So illegal that you cannot show it without being flagged or getting arrested. Why do you have them? Why do you confess to the world that you have them? And if you show them, you'd be arrested.
Because he is the morally superior being. He has evolved from the field of negroes who are too stupid to think, because Massa picked him out of the field of negroes of being the superior negro out of all the other stupid negroes. That's why he thinks that way, because he thinks he can say and do whatever he wants, contradict himself, literally fall into the same position and think he is perfectly fine and exempt from the same position that he's condemning everybody else in.
You are not a cop. You are a vigilante at best. You have no legal immunity for possessing illegal materials. Instead of going online and talk smack about lolicon or shotacon on stream and begging to debate them, how about you actually go to the authorities? You won't, because you have no actionable legal grounds for it. And even if you do, you'll soon find out that the police are not gonna do jack squat about people liking drawings of fictional characters.
And then why do you want to debate a predator? I don't get it. Like, would you debate Epstein at that point? And then why would you want to debate Epstein? God forbid, and knowing how smart he is, that man is not a dumb motherfucker. Knowing how smart Epstein is, and knowing how dumb you are, he would walk all over you because you are dumb as hell. Not saying in favor of Epstein, I'm just saying the guy was smart. He got caught in this whole Florida case, but he was smart and he knew how to actually navigate the system for that long. And considering how smart that motherfucker, you would lose. Actually, no. If Jidion's going to debate anyone, he has to debate Daniel Hakikachu, who is a Muslim apologist, who is perfectly fine with the idea of child marriage. Jidion has to debate that mother. Hold on, wait. Hold on, let me. Actually, no, I'll use that. Actually, no. I need to say that for later. Because Jidion reminds me of Myron Gaines in terms of him being a coon. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Myron Gaines. He's the guy from Fresh and Fit. who let's say him and Jidion share something in common, not being butt buddies, because Myron Gaines is gay, but they do share this one common goal in terms of entering white only spaces.
But it gets worse. Myron himself was kicked out of an all-white Twitter space.
Don't read him nothing, HT. Tell that to go find it himself.
Yeah, and in this stream, they're actually calling him like the N-word with the horror art. Like, and this is the Fresh and Fit podcast. This is Myron on their account in an all-white space.
Yeah, Stern, listen, let's just stick with the Americans for now.
And then we got this.
And when they say Americans, they mean white people, like Anglo-Saxon, Nordic white people.
Like, bro, you're with the standard guy. Yo, you're British, right?
Bro, you don't know your. You don't know your. You don't know your.
Yeah.
Hey, Myron, you're in a hostile
And I'm not
area,
scared
bro.
to have conversation with you guys. It's not.
Okay, well,
you're gonna have to either kick me out or whatever.
You're not gonna have a conversation with him. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, this dude's so whatever. British guy, like, dude, I know you're mad about 1776.
Black men are like most likely to.
But guys, we're on the same side, right? We're on the same side. Why can't I be in the same space as you, despite the fact that we hate the Jews and stuff? Fucking Myron Gaines.
He's not British. He's not British.
Kick this.
That's the first mistake you made. He's not British.
Jesus, and that's literally not Myron Gaines. That's Myron Gaines, but that's also Jidion in a nutshell. Mr. Walking into a white only, because you guys need to really, and this is him saying, I became friends with the most racist man in America. Like, y'all really do need to watch this video of him going into like a town that is known for white nationalism, quite literally looking for KKK members, and then hugging up and being so friendly with KKK members.
I mean, I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to be a problem. I'm going to dip out. If you can, just hop on the intercom for me. Tell them I'm looking for Tom. I'm the only black guy in town. So, you think you can pull up with me, Michael?
Fortunately, he has to work.
Let me know when you're on your lunch break, bro, okay? And then we'll bring you back up to 4K.
That is so painful. Whoa. Actually, hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that. That's literally Jidion. Hold on.
Thank you, John. Tom Robb!
That's right. For those who don't know who this is the one and only Thomas Robb, a white supremacist leader.
Hey, he's telling you he's a white supremacist, by the way.
An actual terrorist organization labeled by the FBI. Basically, he's the real-life Palpatine. Mr. Robb.
I've never seen a black man so happy to see a KKK leader. I'm just saying.
I swear on everything, I almost cried. But you're not the Tom I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for this Tom. I know you're the leader of the KKK, but he got more clout than you now.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool.
Do you know where I can find Tom?
Same place where I was before.
But man, bro, why did you give Nico the interview and you didn't get me it?
I don't know. I guess I was just in that kind of mood.
How'd you like Nico's interview?
He lied to me. I'm Thomas Robb. I'm here with Martin House, and he's with BBC.
Yeah.
We're here having an enjoyable conversation about my involvement with the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan.
He actually is a KKK member.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was talking about the other BBC. That's what I was saying. Why would he lie to you?
He's trying to sell us. They can't blame him for that.
You can't blame a hustler. You know, the Brits.
I don't blame him for that. I mean, he's trying to make a living.
I mean, how can we trust a Brit? Like, he beat me in The Biggest Menace.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's trying to pay his bills. Totally kind of funny.
Mr. Robb, you think I can get your number? Maybe we could do something later?
Probably not.
Probably not.
What makes you think you can do something later with a white supremacist? Jidion.
So some cheap drink that he got from dollar store.
I would love for you to be there, man. I mean,
You should never trust the House Negro people.
please be there for me. Please, Mr.
I don't think so, but I appreciate it.
Okay.
Can I take a picture with you? Is that cool?
Why not?
Thank you, Mr. Tom. I wish you were the Tom we were looking for.
Well, he's still there, I guess. I don't know about that. That's a...
Yeah. Oh my God, Jenny, you deserve all of that, bro. You deserve all that.
They would rather you give them real predators that go after real children instead of wasting their time. Can we at least agree that this exercise of going after Loli or Shota is a waste of your time that could have been spent on real children that are currently being preyed on? If you can't agree with that, then I hope the Performative Moral Outrage Super Chats successfully cover your weekly bills. And that's all for the video today. Here's a cat. Huge thanks to all the wonderful sponsors this week. You're all fantastic. Don't forget to check out my previous videos here. Click the like button, comment, subscribe, join the YouTube membership, leave some tips, just $1 down below. And thanks for watching.
And for the people who are watching, that is Appa Bend. That is his channel right there. And I'll also put that in the description for you guys, so you know you can watch his video. Give him a like, give him a subscription. He actually earns it. He's a really good guy. He's also very familiar with the tech field, so like, again, I said it before, and I'll say it again. This is Jidion's view of why he is right. He's not right from a philosophical standpoint. And I'm going to close off the stream at this point, because at this point there's really nothing more I can talk about, and that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about. He's not coming from a philosophical standpoint. He clearly has no philosophy in terms of like tackling pedophilia. He has no academic understanding because he clearly does not understand DSM-5 pedophilia disorder. He comes from a cultural standpoint. And to him, the cultural standpoint, irregardless of how retarded it really is far superior to him than the philosophical and the academic standpoint. Because to him, the cultural standpoint is all about power. It is not backed by research. It is not backed by data. It is not backed by statistics. It is backed by a parasocial relationship of YouTubers and millions upon fans who have been culturally educated on the concept of pedophilia, where their definition is functionally different from the academic and the philosophical position of person who is sexually attracted to prepubescent children, aka those who are 13 and under, versus their cultural definition, which allows you to be able to condemn anyone of your choosing based off of your perception of what you think a pedophile is. So if a person is sexually attracted to a Asian woman, which is funny, by the way, because Jidion dates Asian women, and the woman looks like she's 13, she's very useful, she has flat chest, she looks young, but she's in her 30s. Under the cultural definition, under the cultural umbrella, that would make you a pedophile. Not because you are sexually attracted to someone who is 13 and below, but because of the implications of being attracted to a woman who is in their 30s who happens to be flat-chested. That's their definition of pedophilia, the cultural definition of pedophilia. the illusion of looking like a pedophile. And that's what makes Jidion a danger to society. That's what makes Skeeter a danger to society, because Skeeter is quite literally his tutor. Skeeter taught him how to do predator hunting. So by conjunction, you just demonize Skeeter. And Skeeter might actually have his shit together for all I know. But because you are his student, you just dragged him down too. So what do we learn here, folks? We have learned that the cultural phenomena is far more important to totalitarians such as Jidion, because the culture and the money is far more greater and far more important than the actual safety and bodily autonomy of children. And if we really want to solve the issue of pedophilia in this country, it has to come from the local. It has to come from the community. It has to come from the community that's willing to actually let people know, including those who are predators, that if you want to do these types of things within our community, you're going to have to pay hell and high water. And it's going to come at the cost of your life. And it has to be at a community level and not a YouTuber influence level. Because at the end of the day, let's say, for instance, Jidion was like the sole proprietor of Predator Standards, where he has high arrest rates and high conviction rates, and they're at the same level, or just marginally. But what happens when a person like that dies, and that the quality of that standard starts to diminish over the years? Because you have so many copycats that are not concerned about the standard and the quality of predator hunting. They're more concerned about the financial support that you get for looking like a good guy while not really solving the problem. The problem is you end up not solving the problem. The problem is you end up looking like you're cutting down the tree, but in actuality, you're just cutting the branch and saying that you're cutting down the tree. And at that point, it makes you a villain. Jidion is a literal villain. Schlepp is a villain. They are both villains masquerading as heroes, supporting authoritarian tactics such as the big lie and friend-enemy distinction in order for them to solidify their cultural power in terms of watering down definitions to fatten themselves up with cultural power. That is literally what Jidion is. That is what Schlepp is. That is what the anti-lolly coalition is. Now, in terms of anyone that has an opinion like they don't agree, that's fine. If you find it weird, that is fine. No one's telling you that you have to participate. We're not the LGBTQ community here. We're not saying that you have to participate. We're not saying men have to participate in the sports of women. And we're not saying the other way around as well. All we're saying is if you don't like it, get the fuck out. Colonizers beware. We are aware of your tactics, and they will not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. You will be isolated. You will be identified. You will be quarantined. And you will be kicked out. Because we will not tolerate this shit. And that's it for this live stream, guys. Truly appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. And until then, take care and be safe. And I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, God bless.